Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we kick off the round of 8 here from Homestead, Miami. This round consists of Miami as well as Talladega in the middle and Mid-Ohio to finish things off. You see the playoff grid. Kyle Larson, myself, Chase Elliott, and Ross Chastain currently the final 4 ahead of my teammates of Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, and Chase Briscoe, but you see just how condensed the points are. Although we are P2 in the standings, we're only 8 points above the cut line, and we picked up the win last episode in Watkins Glen to get our first win in quite some time, but our third win of the season. Brand new paint scheme on the car this weekend, Bright Line paint scheme made by Cachinero. Love this livery. We had some news this weekend that the Xfinity series will be dying. Not the actual series, but the name. The Xfinity series sponsorship is over, just like real life, what's happening at the end of this year. But it will now be the Amazon Prime series that will be taking over the current branding of Xfinity. That was some news this weekend. There's still a couple of bits of announcements on the way in these final 6 races of the season, but that was the one for today, as I was pretty happy with my car here in practice, and we have yet to make the final 4. We have completed 3 full seasons in our Cup Series career. Of course, 2 were at Colleague, where we never really expected to make it to the final 4, and 1 season, of course, under our belt at Joe Gibbs Racing, this being our second. We know where we're going next season to Junior Motorsports, driving against this car right here in the number 7, currently piloted by Justin Allgaier, but we've yet to make the final 4, and that is something that I am very determined to do. But we do have that wild card race, of course, in this round, just like real life, how they've moved Talladega into the round of 8. We're going to see that this season as well, here in the career mode, which will be in the next episode. So I knew that today we needed to maximize our points to make sure we put ourselves in a more comfortable and confident position going into Talladega. We've won at Talladega before, so I'm confident we can go there and run well, but at the same time, you never know. A lot of things at Talladega are out of your control, so a lot more things are in control right here in Homestead, Miami. At a turn 4 down the front straightaway, a goal of a 32.254. We hit a 32.336, putting us P13, one of the better efforts we've had on a mile and a half, so I wasn't too concerned about that. As we look at the final 8 drivers, Larson, Chastain front row, Gibbs in 5th as well, Christopher Bell in 8th. He's won the first race of the both rounds of the playoffs so far. Can he continue that today? 10th for Joey Logano, Elliott just behind myself as well, as you see the rest of the qualifying order. SVG down in 30th after freshly eliminated from the playoffs after being in a must-win scenario last episode. Truck Series was in Talladega already, kicking off their final 4. Yes, a super speedway in the final 4 for the Truck Series, the first race of the final 4, and of course in the championship for that, it's Cam Waters versus Brent Cruz, Lawless Allen, and Riley Herbst, just like the Cup Series in Xfinity. 3 races for the final 4, and it's going to be the most points at the end of that, winning the championship. Cam Waters currently has a 3-point lead over Brent Cruz after being runner-up in Talladega. Lawless Allen back by 9. Riley Herbst, the favorite, who I thought might have been him or Brent Cruz, well, he's back by 12 points now, with 2 races left in their championship round, as we get ready for Cup Series racing to kick off the round of 8.
It all comes down to this: 8 drivers, 3 races to determine who makes the final 4 to race for a championship. We kick it off here in Miami in anticipation of the Talladega wildcard race to follow next week.
Alright guys, one more round to try and put us into the final 4. I don't see why we can't do it. Great speed, great playoffs. Let's give it up.
We're going to show them we're the best team here. Let's do this.
We're looking to do exactly that. Show them we are the best team here. 8 points the margin coming into today. We'll have live updates on the points at the end of every stage for this entire round of the playoffs. Now, starting right here in Homestead, Miami, Bubba Wallace, Todd Gilliland on the row in front of us from P13. The green flag is out. The first race of the round of 8 is underway. Kyle Larson in that Larson Prime number 5 for Hendrick Motorsports leads the way down into turn 1 alongside the iFly Honda Trackhouse machine of Ross Chastain. Behind us, Ryan Blaney eliminated in the round of 12 in quite disappointing fashion. Ryan Blaney I mean, was in great position to go into this round until he had, of course, some bad luck in Kentucky. Didn't quite get the finish he deserved after crashing late in that race, after being arguably the best car against my teammate of Ty Gibbs. And then Watkins Glen never went how he needed it to go and ends up eliminated after losing out in a head-to-head fight to Chase Briscoe, who advances on into this round, the lone RFK driver. 3 Joe Gibbs cars in this round of the playoffs, myself as well as Christopher Bell and Ty Gibbs. Speaking of Ty Gibbs, he's already out in front. Larson's lost the lead, but Tyler Reddick to the inside for 23-11 as well, trying to take the lead of this race. Reddick has been running very strong recently, since really the playoffs started. Surprisingly hasn't visited victory lane yet, but he is looking extremely strong, and we're seeing the same trend we've seen previously with other drivers that have had injuries. They come back, and they come back stronger. Ryan Blaney is a pinnacle example of that. Although he only has 1 win this season, he has had a phenomenal season outside of the bad luck in the last 2 races that put him out of the playoffs. And of course, we know he's headed to 23-11 Racing next season, and part of this career mode. I am so excited to see what Blaney is going to be able to do there. Speaking of Ryan Blaney, he was up my inside into turn 1. He moves himself into P6. Here comes Joey Logano as well. Logano, your winner from a few races ago, in a 1/1000th of a second photo finish against Kyle Larson at Kentucky Speedway. He's in this round of 8, and I genuinely believe Joey Logano is a championship threat. An unbelievable turnaround that we always talk about, because I just still can't believe it. And here he is moving his way through the field early on as Tyler Reddick leads over Ty Gibbs. Out in front as well, or up towards the front, I should say, Kyle Busch in 3rd. Ryan Blaney, though, moving his way forward, and so was Logano. Chastain drops back from that 2nd starting position down to P7, and now at risk from losing another position to myself as we'll go up the inside into turn 3. This will move us through into P7. Hold on, Chastain not going to make it easy. He'll fight back on that right rear quarter panel, and he would keep it on my outside all the way down into turns 1 and 2, and I'm still trying to get clear of this one. In typical Chastain fashion, he is not going to make any overtake easy for anybody on any lap of the race. We're only on lap 7, but nonetheless, we eventually do get clear, as it certainly seems like he doesn't have the speed he needs as the lone Trackhouse driver left in the playoffs. I really think Trackhouse next season could be one of the best teams in the series, as Chase Elliott's able to get past me, but of course they expand to 4 cars. I think Kyle Busch still has the recipe for success. Shane Van Gisbergen, I think, is going to be back on top to an extent as well. Chastain's always been up there, and I think Connor Zilish is going to, honestly, in his 2nd full-time season of Cup Series competition here, I think he's going to light the world on fire. Now is Parker Kligerman for RCR, and that number 30 blows a right front tire. Caution is out for the first time today, and surprisingly, I thought it was Rajan Caruth that brought out the caution, because I saw he was the only driver electing to not pit. But no, there's no issues for Caruth, who did get involved in that incident. Nonetheless, he's running a little bit down the order. He's had a quiet few races here after turning, his season completely around in the best way possible recently. Elliott loses 2 spots, so does Ryan Blaney, and up front, of course, it is going to be Rajan Caruth on the front row, joined by Tyler Reddick. We restart from P8, about halfway through, just past halfway in stage number 1. What can we pull off here? Now it's all about stage points, especially when you look at who we got around us. Larson, Gibbs, Chase Elliott, as well as Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, although Chastain is going backwards. Caruth is going to be on 15-lap old tires. It's going to be an opportunity to gain positions. Bubba Wallace just behind me in my rear view mirror as we dive down into turn number 3. Can't quite make anything happen. Caruth goes high and actually get into the back of Blaney. I didn't realize the 48 had jumped up to the top, so a huge stack up that I just wasn't ready for. Fortunately, Blaney only gets a little bit sideways and saves it. Christopher Bell going forward, but Joey Logano to the lead over Kyle Larson, and Logano again puts himself in command of another race as we're going to get squeezed into the wall there, 4 wide with Kyle Busch, and down to P13, and that was kind of on me. I tried to force the issue trying to pass the 48, and it didn't quite work out. Here comes Byron as well, joined by my other teammate Chandler Smith, who's had a significant improvement in recent races as well. Watch out for him next season, as he will still be behind the wheel of the number 18, but only signed on Joe Gibbs for next season only, so it'll be interesting to see how he continues to do and improve improve because he's certainly going to have to step it up next season. Now we'll pass recently eliminated Chris Buescher down the back straightaway there. Move ourselves into P11. Joey Logano crashes into turn 3, racing for the lead with Kyle Larson. Tire failure, and it's going to be day over for Joey Logano, where you cannot have DNFs in the round of 8. That could be already season ending for the 22. Logano loses a rear tire into turn 3, completely crashes out of this race, and maybe crashes out of the season. He is going to have an epic Talladega and Mid-Ohio, and I just don't know if that's going to be possible for that 22 team, especially at Mid-Ohio. On the weaker side of things is their road racing, so yeah, that's heartbreaking, as it was looking like Logano was about to continue that momentum and take over here in Homestead, Miami. Not the situation now. Kyle Larson leads. We have to focus on the rest of this race and get back in to the swing of things, and as well focus on trying to pick up a stage point or two. That last restart did not work out in our favor, and now immediately I jump up to the outside. You see Ryan Blaney doing the exact same thing behind me. Bubba Wallace is going to jump up to the top as well. We're 3 wide on the exit of 4. Shane Van Gisbergen into the mix now, eliminated in Watkins Glen. There's my teammate again, Christopher Bell, up the inside as we dive down into turn number 1. Christopher Bell won the first race of the round of 16 and won the first race of the round of 12. He's moving his way forward, but I don't see that same speed that he's had in those first races of the previous 2 rounds, so I don't think we're going to see Christopher Bell winning here today. Made it into the Final 4 last season. Can he do it again this season as well? Kyle Busch to the lead of this race here as we exit turn number 4 down this front stretch. Still 3 wide. I realized that was not Bubba Wallace behind me on that restart there, as we of course are just now passing him. But coming to 3 laps to go in the stage, it's Busch versus Larson. Blaney up now to 3rd. I think Ryan Blaney's got a lot of speed here. I think both of those Penske cars, the 22 and the 12, were looking really quick. The 2, of course, lacking some speed. But we passed Christopher Bell, past Eric Jones, who's having a great top 10 run. And now up the inside of the 24, we would clear him into turn 1. Byron as well eliminated in that last round of the playoffs. 2 to go in the stage, actually clipping the apron there, sliding up the racetrack now as we come through at a turn 2. Ty Gibbs there just in front of us in that 6th position as we continue on towards the final lap of the stage. Busch leads the way. We lost a spot back to Eric Jones. White flag in the air, and we'll fight right there through that narrow gap between the car and the wall there to get back to the outside, but Jones clear for the moment. Mid-corner, we try to fight back on the exit, and we'll see what we can do on the run through 3. And at a turn 4, I'm slipping and sliding a little bit there, struggling for grip as we exit turn 2. But we'll dive up the inside into turn 3. Busch has Larson covered. Blaney 3rd. Reddick and Elliott battle for 4th. Gibbs in 6th. Will nearly clear the 34. Not quite. We're going to be 3 wide. Kyle Busch wins stage number 1. And we're going to lose out to the 34, but not the 24. And that will put us just inside the top 10 there. P8, Bell picks up a point as well. Kyle Larson, the highest scoring playoff driver. No surprise there. We're going to keep the car at the same adjustments for the most part on wedge, but we will change the right rear tire pressure, go a little bit higher on that, and go on into stage 2. We'll see what we can do there, as I'm feeling confident on the longer run with this car, but obviously we didn't really get that there. We gained 2 spots. Tyler Reddick loses 5 at the end of stage 1, so we're up to row 3 alongside our teammate of Ty Gibbs. Green flag is back out, and stage number 2 for 26 laps is officially underway, and you see the live points. Kyle Larson now advances himself 36 points above the cut line. Chase Elliott 12 points. Myself, we gained a single point above the cut line at 9. Ty Gibbs 3 points above Ross Chastain. Bell out by 6. Logano currently only out by 8, but by the end of the race that will be a significantly larger number. Chase Briscoe out currently by 15 points. He's having a very quiet day here in Homestead, Miami, as he picked up that win, of course, in the Auto Club Speedway race a few rounds ago, and then just did enough, basically, in the round of 12 to advance himself. Honestly, he's had an impressive first season at RFK. 2 wins at Darlington and Auto Club. Nothing to hang his head low about now as we slide on the exit of turn 2, actually into the side of the 45 of Tyler Reddick. Fortunately, that didn't lead to anything further. Busch leads over Ryan Blaney now, who's up to second in front of Kyle Larson, who drops to third over Ty Gibbs. Now Bubba Wallace just behind myself. Byron SVG in the background has passed his Trackhouse teammate of Ross Chastain as we continue to run this higher line. On lap 4, though, you can see the 34 and the 45 doing the same, so now pull down towards the middle part of the track to get to the inside of that Xbox Toyota Camry for 2311 as we reel in Chase Elliott into turn number 3, trying to move ourselves towards a top 5 running position alongside that 34 as we exit turn 4. Eric Jones has had some great runs with Front Row Motorsports this season. I genuinely believe he could be a threat to make the playoffs next season as a surprise entry, as we'll clear him on the exit of turn 2. Kind of forced his hand a little bit there, but he has had some impressive runs all season long in that 34. Of course, his teammate of Zane Smith has had great runs as well. I would say of the midfield teams, Front Row has been by far the best team of any of them. Now Ryan Blaney as well to the lead of this race. He's run down Kyle Busch and passed him. So Ryan Blaney showing, hey, I'm the fastest car here outside of my teammate of Logano, who is now out of this race. You are going to have to go through me, who was just eliminated from the playoffs, which would be heartbreaking if he won a race after he got eliminated. He was so close to making the Final Four last season at this very track. But Bubba Wallace was able to hold him off by about a single car length now as we come towards the tail end of the field run, realizing we might see green flag pit stops, and Ty Gibbs is falling off as this run goes on, but I was also starting to fall off. So us Toyotas, specifically Joe Gibbs Toyotas, struggling the longer the run goes. So I knew immediately I was going to need some adjustments going into the pit lane here, specifically just to tighten up this car. As you can see, Ryan Blaney back out in front, by him and Kyle Busch are continuing to swap the lead back and forth, and you can see myself sliding on the exit of turn 4, and here comes now Tyler Reddick on lap 16 of 26. I really don't have anything for him, so I'm just really trying to stay out of his way because I was struggling for grip quite a lot and just waiting for the fuel light to come on and get ready to make our pit stop. Overall, still quite happy with the race car, and of the playoff drivers, we currently run the 4th best. You see, Reddick does have a playoff tag. Completely ignore that. Like I've mentioned before, ignore playoff tags in the playoffs of this series because we do a different playoff structure and format compared to the structure that's in this game. So Blaney back out in front, 2 laps of fuel, so we know the fuel light, there it is, it's come on. So we're going to pit right here. We're not going to waste any time because I reckon we're going to see other drivers pit, and if they do exactly that, which you can see Larson comes in, we're going to pit right here. So just narrowly missed by Eric Jones right there, but we'll come in for our green flag pit stop. We don't get a lot of green flag pit stops, of course, so it's nice to actually have one of those play out here, especially in the round of 8 where things are so important, including every single pit stop. 4 tire stop. We are tightening up the car a little bit and as well reversing that tire pressure decision I made on the right rear. We're going to lower the tire pressures a little bit there. The car just overall too free over the course of a run, and we were really paying the consequences for that at the tail end of that field run. So Larson in front of us, we should be able to gain a few positions. Just one lap is going to make a difference, especially with how many cars pitted on the next time around. There's Reddick, there's Elliott as well. We'll pass 2 cars. Will we get Ty Gibbs? I don't think so. Gibbs is going to be able to stay in front. He was falling off and got a great stop compared to Chase Elliott. Gets back out in front of the 9. William Sawalich currently leads now in the pits, and we'll get past him. So we cycle out into P5, coming to 3 laps to go, and look at this, navigating lap traffic. Larson splitting a few cars. Gibbs trying to get around. I'm going around the 15 of Christian Eckes. Now smoke from Larson. Tire failure for the 5 of Kyle Larson down the front straightaway. Caution is out, and it ends the stage, and lucky for Larson, it ends under yellow, giving him the 8 points that he will get for 3rd. Ryan Blaney gets the stage win, Kyle Busch in 2nd, but Larson, although he of course gets those 8 points, which is going to save him right there, he still has to go to the back of the field because he's got to come into the pits for that tire, and he will not be out of this race. Larson is still in this race. And as we get ready to go green, we get up to P4. Blaney, Bush on the front row. Larson all the way at the back right there. Only a few cars behind him. As we're back underway, the third and final stage. 37 laps to go. Kyle Busch just in front now. And you talk about Kyle Busch. If we were running the traditional playoff format and the playoffs started at the same time that they do without our playoff format, Kyle Busch would still be in the playoffs. Obviously, with our format, the playoffs start earlier because we have a few extra races. He is instead out of the playoffs, and of course Tyler Reddick never made the playoffs because of his injury. Blaney leads the way through 3 and out of 4, but here comes Ty Gibbs now again. Gibbs has really turned things up here in recent races. The defending Cup Series champion continues to reiterate that he wants to be able to win another championship immediately, and prove that he deserved and earned that first championship last season, no matter what everybody else says in terms of how he did not deserve that championship with the way that race ended. Now as I hit the wall in turn 3, that's going to lose us a spot to the 9 of Chase Elliott. Kyle Larson, after stage number 2, still finds himself 43 points above the cut line. Elliott at 15 points above the cut line. Myself 14 points. Ty Gibbs 9 points above Ross Chastain, and then it's Bell out by 13, Logano by 15, Briscoe by 22. But like I said earlier, that Joey Logano number specifically is going to be a lot larger once this race completes here in a little bit over 30 laps time. So stay tuned on that number, because it's not going to be pretty for Joey Logano. And that next race in Talladega is really going to be the deciding factor on what's going to happen. I don't think we'll have Talladega in the round of 8 next season. I think it'll be back to the round of 12, but it's going to be such a curveball this time around in this round of 8. So it's really hard to tell what's going to happen. Logano could be 30 points below the cut line and find himself in great position following Talladega. Now Nick Sanchez blows a tire into turn 1 for Andretti Global. Caution is out, and some drivers are electing to pit. SVG, Bell, and Bubba Wallace in the top 20 are electing to box, as well as Alex Bowman for Richard Childress Racing. Everybody else, including myself, is going to stay on the racetrack. So SVG, Bell, Alex Bowman, Bubba Wallace, those 4 names, pay attention to them, because they are going to try an alternate strategy because their days haven't quite gone the way they wanted it to, and Christopher Bell is specifically the one to watch, of course, being in this round of 8 as we get back underway with 28 laps to go. How will this work out for Christopher Bell? Reddick leads over Blaney as well as Kyle Busch. Those top 3 drivers currently have been the class of the field alongside Kyle Larson, but Larson still got work to do. He's trying to work his way back through this grid as we'll go back up to that third lane as we dive down into turn number 3. Here comes Chase Elliott. Elliott's been so consistent all season long. 4 wins to his season, the second most of anybody behind Kyle Larson at 5. Elliott has been in the Final 4 the last 2 seasons in this career mode, but it hasn't turned into a championship either time, so he continues as a one-time champion. Kyle Larson, of course, has been in the championship twice and has only been successful 1 time, and that was in season number 2. So there's only been 1 season in between Kyle Larson's last championship, and now he finds himself in great position to go win another one. Could that be his 3rd NASCAR title, or can Chase Elliott advance into the Final 4 and get himself his 2nd NASCAR championship and tie Kyle Larson? Will Larson even make the Final 4? Although he comes into this stage at 43 points above the cut line, you still got Talladega, where Kyle Larson has a horrific track record. That is going to be the curveball race that I think could really put Kyle Larson in a tough position. Speaking of Kyle Larson, with 23 laps to go, he's moved himself back up into the top 10. He's into P9. We're up the inside of Eric Jones. What a race for Eric Jones. He's run top 10 all day long. Kyle Busch now leads over Blaney as well as Tyler Reddick. Chase Elliott is up in the mix, but as these laps go on, it's starting to look like, again, we could potentially see a set of green flag pit stops here, which would be a bit surprising to get 2 sets of green flag pit stops in one race, but that's a great surprise. Still a good chunk of time remaining in this race here, now coming to 20 laps of racing to go. Who is going to get the job done? Is it going to be Kyle Busch Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, maybe somebody else, Christopher Bell, SVG, Bubba Wallace, Alex Bowman could all benefit on, of course, pitting on that last yellow. They're going to go a good 10 extra laps just about, as now the light comes on for fuel. So pit stop's about to kick off, and Kyle Larson is here, so watch out for that number 5 as we go back around one more time. Lap 76, we've got 1 lap of fuel. We have to pit this time. That's our only option, as I wanted to stretch us as long as we can, considering those 4 drivers that can go longer. Here comes Kyle Busch, Blaney, Reddick stay out, Kyle Larson does as well. Surprised they even have the field to do that, as I nearly get ran over by Eric Jones into the pit lane. We'll come in, get 4 tires on the car. It's expected to be a bit quicker of a pit stop this time around, 14.9. Our last stop was in the low 15 seconds. We'll come out with a 14.9 just behind Kyle Busch. We're in front of Chase Elliott as well as Ty Gibbs. Great pit stop for this number 19 team. We'll cycle out just behind the 99, and we have a run on him. Here comes Alex Bowman in the 31. He struggled on pace all race long, so you're going to see him currently in P5 as we'll go into turn 3. Kyle Larson still on the racetrack, actually, as we continue on out of turn 4. Forgot about Larson. He can go a few extra laps because he did pit at the end of the stage. None of us did, so Larson can go a couple of extra laps here, but I expect to see him in the pits probably this lap, actually, or next lap, and actually he was in, so Larson would make his pit stop. He would come out a ways behind us, however, because he ran so many extra laps, so he's not really going to be a threat unless a caution comes out. SVG, Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, all in front of us. We are hoping that no caution is going to come out. We need this to stay green. We continue to reel in those guys now, and you can see the actual race. If this stays green, the race for the win is right in front of us. It's currently Blaney, who will be a net P1, Kyle Busch, then Tyler Reddick. So what's going to happen here is SVG, Christopher Bell, and Bubba Wallace, including Alex Bowman, can all do a significantly shorter pit stop. They're probably going to do a splash of fuel and only 2 tires instead of 4 tires. Ty Gibbs is closing in behind us, but those guys are going to be able to do a shorter pit stop, therefore gain track position, and then on top of that, they're going to have a better set of right side tires that will also give them more speed. So I think SVG and Christopher Bell specifically might benefit quite well, but especially Shane Van Gisbergen, who continues to lead this race. 10 laps remain in this race, and you can see the pile of cars in front there. Ryan Blaney has unlapped himself. Shane Van Gisbergen pits, and so does Christopher Bell. They pit right together. It stays green long enough. We get back on the lead lap. That was crucial. Now the question is, where does SVG and where does Christopher Bell cycle out in this sequence now? But it's going to be, no matter what, a race between Blaney, Reddick, and Kyle Busch. Right now Busch is in second. Reddick got held up behind a lap car, so that lost him some time. And here we go down the front straightaway. Shane Van Gisbergen's already exiting the pits as we dive down into turn 1. You see him right there, and he got a great pit stop compared to Christopher Bell, who's not even exiting the pit lane yet. Bell, I think, did 4 tires. That's going to be an interesting one to see how it works out. Will it stay green? Well, we get a caution and a late race restart. We'll have to wait and see over the next couple of laps. Now we continue P4. This is all I have. Honestly, P4 is a great result if we can hang on to it, but I'm not going to be able to run down Ryan Blaney or any of the top 3. But Ryan Blaney, fresh off of elimination, is in position to score his 2nd win of the season, and in the very first race after he was eliminated. Ty Gibbs, my teammate there in P5, just behind us. I mean, we are the best running playoff driver currently, with Ty Gibbs being the 2nd best. 3 laps to go for Ryan Blaney here as he tries to set sail now. Justin Haley loses a tire and crashes in turn 3 just like Joey Logano did earlier, and the caution is out, and it's going to be a 2-lap sprint for the win here in Homestead, Miami. And now we have a chance to win this race. Gibbs, Elliott, Larson, SVG in the top 10, William Byron as well. It's NASCAR overtime. What can we do on this outside line from row number 2? Reddick on the inside. Can he make an unexpected move on Ryan Blaney? The green flag is out. 2 laps to go in the first race of the round of 8. We're the top playoff driver over Ty Gibbs, and it's Elliott and Larson to follow. As we dive down into turn 1, we are not going to push that 99. We're trying to jump to the outside and catch him off guard. Can we make the move on Kyle Busch? 3 wide to his right rear. Not going to happen. And now Gibbs still side by side down the back straightaway. Mulaney leads the way into turn 3. He's got everybody covered. He covers the inside. I give Busch a push into turn 3. He's alongside Reddick as we jump up to the outside looking for the momentum on the exit of 4. Gibbs clear coming to the final lap. Elliott to my inside now. White flag is out for Ryan Blaney in his final few races with Penske Racing. He wants to go out with a bang, and here he is looking for victory now, but Reddick, can he clear Kyle Busch? We fight back to Gibbs, not quite enough. We open the door again for the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet driver of Elliott, but we re-clear down the back straightaway. We get one more lunge at it. We're not going to win, but we're still going to get a respectable top 5 if we can hang on. Blaney leads through 3 and 4. Reddick high, Busch and Gibbs side by side. Out of turn 4 we slide. It's going to be a drag race with Elliott. Ryan Blaney wins in Miami. We hold off the 9 for 5th position, and Ryan Blaney gets win number 2 on the season. 1 race following his elimination in heartbreaking fashion of that round of 12. My goodness, what a race here in Homestead, Miami, a track that never fails to disappoint. As you see the finishing order on your screen, and we focus mainly on those playoff guys, and good runs for Kyle Larson, of course great runs for myself and Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott as well, but not so great for the likes of Chastain, Christopher Bell, as well as Chase Briscoe, and most importantly, Joey Logano with the DNF. It's not going to be a pretty day for him in the points, to say the least. You see the standings on your screen. Larson, Elliott, myself, and Gibbs are the current drivers above the cut line. Gibbs 15 points in front of Ross Chastain. Bell over 20 points below. Then you go to Briscoe, over 30 points out. Joey Logano has over 40 points to make up. It's possible, but it's unlikely. But with Talladega coming, anything can happen. As for myself, we have a 19-point buffer, and so does Chase Elliott. And then Kyle Larson, well, he is far out in front. Currently nothing to worry about as it stands, but Talladega could very well change that for Kyle Larson. I'll see you guys in the next race for the second race of the round of 8 from Talladega Superspeedway. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.